Hello, my sweet little delectable gumdrop. How are you doing today? Doing all right? I'm so glad you're here. I'm feeling sappy today, and I just want you to know that I care about you deeply, and I'm so happy that you're here. But, alas, we need to shove the sappy stuff aside and dive deep into mindless Hollywood drama. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about something that's really cool, and that is Dragon City. Thank you to Dragon City for sponsoring this video. If you didn't already know, I have custom dragons with Dragon City, and they are so friggin' cute. Currently available in the game is my Call Me Chris dragon, my Call Me Chris pin decoration, and the Autumn Chris dragon. But don't be fooled, this dragon has more than a fresh fit. She has new cool elements that you'll love. And for those of you who don't know what Dragon City even is, why don't you? But you can basically create your own dragon empire by hatching, collecting, and evolving over 1,000 unique dragons, including dragons of your favorite YouTubers, aka me. And you can construct and customize your own dream city with magical habitats, buildings, and decorations. And you can unleash powerful dragon skills and strategies to conquer challenging quests and events. So embark on an adventure filled with enchanting quests, ancient legends, and mythical creatures. All you gotta do is download Dragon City by clicking the link in the description below. Or you can just scan the QR code and you will get Call Me Chris pin, food, gold, and the Neo Azumi dragon instantly. So don't waste the opportunity to play with my custom dragons today. This is a limited offer, so download Dragon City today. Thank you again to Dragon City for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. So apparently, some celebrities aren't good people. Who would have thunk, you know? Some celebrities in general can be intolerable people. And this seems to be the case and viewpoint for 3 celebrities who have fallen into drama. From alleged SA on set to stealing the spotlight from those more deserving. The situation has me completely confused, basically, and the world, it seems. And this drama specifically has to do with somebody that was in Deadpool and Wolverine, and the main protagonist of the movie, It Ends With Us, Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, and her co-star, Justin Baldoni, and Ryan Reynolds, but we'll get more into Ryan later in the video. But the drama in general circles around a movie that was made that is called It Ends With Us, a film adaptation of a best-selling novel written by Colleen Hoover. And the book has very serious tones of domestic violence, generational trauma, and more. And Hoover herself includes a side-by-side story influenced by her own mother's abusive relationship, which connects heavily with audiences and readers.
My mother and father divorced when I was 2, and one of my earliest memories was him throwing a TV at her. She was able to get out of that relationship, and then from then on, I just remember growing up with a mother who was so strong and independent.
It was honest and raw and very complex, and it's very personal, and the story is so well made because it's written with truth. So now you'd understand the seriousness of a movie adaptation, putting the movie on the big screen for people who may not be big readers but are avid movie watchers. And to get her story on the big screen, Justin Baldoni was the director and one of the main stars, playing Ryle, what a name, who was the main antagonist of the book and the film. And alongside him, Lily Bloom, who has a flower shop, love that, is the main protagonist of the story, and she is played by Blake Lively. And the childhood first love, Atlas, again, great name, is played by Brandon Sklenar. And for those of you who don't even know what It Ends With Us is, here's a little bit of a synopsis with not too many spoilers. If you do want spoilers and a fantastic movie and book review, go over to Amanda the Jedi's channel. She is fantastic at reviewing. I watch her videos all the time. I don't even think she knows I exist, but either way, this is a little shout out for her. She's awesome. And now let's go back to the synopsis. So Lily Bloom, Blake Lively, returns to her hometown for her father's funeral, and she basically gets up on the podium and struggles to give a eulogy, not even being able to say 5 nice things about her father. And later on in the movie, we figure out that he was a grade A piece of shit that was very abusive towards her mother and abusive towards one of Blake Lively, Lily Bloom's, ex-lovers. So after that, we go back to where she lives now in Boston at her apartment, but on the roof of her apartment building. And in walks the main antagonist, the hunky Ryle. And Ryle, of course, is a neurosurgeon. Beats the crap out of a chair when he comes up, very frustrated because he lost a patient. And then Lily and Ryle start to talk and connect, and clearly there's some flirtation going on, the beginnings of a rom-com, if you will, but obviously this is not that. But then they part ways, just getting to know each other, and Ryle doesn't want anything serious, and Blake wants something serious, so they're like, never mind. And then Ryle gets called off to go to the hospital. And later on down the line, Lily Bloom finally gets to open her flower shop. And she hires Alyssa, who is just a rich housewife that just wants a job and doesn't even want to get paid, which is all right. And Alyssa just happens to be Ryle's sister. So Ryle comes in one day and they kind of hit it off again. Lily, that is, not with his sister, that'd be weird. And then there's a whole birthday party, and then Lily and Ryle start to hit it off. There's a whole love montage, and they start a relationship. But then Atlas, which is Lily Bloom's ex-lover when they were teenagers, comes into the picture as an adult. He's a chef at a restaurant that Ryle and Lily go to eat dinner at, but then she sees Atlas and she's like, oh my god, it's Atlas. That's my guy. That's my dude. That's my ex-lover. But she doesn't tell Ryle that at the start, at least. And then they start to gab and chat, and Ryle gets very, very uncomfortably jealous. And this is when shit hits the fan, basically. I mean, there was hints here and there, but this is when Ryle goes completely out of control, and he begins to abuse Lily in many different ways. And in the movie, and Amanda the Jedi goes over this much better than I will, but they kind of hint at the abuse here and there, or portray it in a different way than I personally think was good, because if you're not watching it, then it's just kind of like, I mean, you'll know by the end of the movie, but I feel like they were light. They were light, especially compared to the book. But regardless, there is an abusive relationship that happens, and it stems from his jealousy. And Lily had an abusive father that abused his mother and also beat the crap out of Atlas, which was her ex-lover, and that's when they parted ways and never saw each other up until now. So it's just history repeating itself for Lily. And as Lily's relationship with Ryle and Atlas grow increasingly complicated, she's forced to confront both past and present. And the themes of love, trauma, and resilience come to the forefront as Lily navigates the challenges of forging a future while grappling with the shadows of her history. And it's all, the movie's like fine, I guess. Books, better, and I think most people will agree with that. And it's always hard with book and movie adaptations. I just think they were like more light with the movie, which, with the themes being as serious as they are, it's like, just go all in, like, be realistic, like, don't just glaze over. I'm sure it helped. Actually, I know that it did help a lot of people in a lot of different ways that have to deal with those situations. And even me watching it and having dealt with similar situations, you know, there's things that you can take away from it, but there's also, like, obviously not in my current relationship, but in the past. So many different facets of being in that, and I don't think they were fully explored. But anyway, the book itself is very heavy, and no wonder why it was chosen for a film adaptation due to the success of this very serious story. And on CBS Mornings, we have Brandon Sklenar talking about how any woman who sees it and relates to the movie feels seen, empowered, and heard. And the whole thing is meant to inspire hope for those out there who may feel connected to these characters.
Any women that see it, if they relate to Lily in any way, that they feel empowered and they feel seen and they feel heard and they find some hope to take steps to change their life.
However, before the movie could even hit theaters, some bumps in the road have caused a lot of drama to unfold. So before the release of the movie, the actors obviously went on a marketing campaign, and through interviews about the film, they wanted to promote it. However, people noticed that in these interviews, Baldoni wasn't speaking as much, yet everyone else on the cast was. And people also wondered about the clashing viewpoints of each actor, with Justin Baldoni being very serious about the themes, describing his story with the book involving him in tears by the story, and stating that he can only imagine how the women reading the book feels if they're experiencing this sort of thing in their own lives. Very in touch, if you will. And on the other side of the coin, though, this is where it gets Blake Lively seemed to take a different approach. And on TikTok, of course, someone compiled an entire compilation of her making jokes, steering clear of the topic at hand to show what she's wearing at the red carpet and such at events.
Lily Bloom is, oh, look at me in flowers, Lily Bloom. It's neoprene. You just like go deep sea diving in it. I'm going to jump into this, and Blake, I'm going to start with you to run into a celebrity in public. We only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys, but for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their life. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could
She's on now.
I mean,
a
he
film about
does
them.
still send me flowers, and it wasn't when we first met, thank goodness. No, we were friends for many years first. But yeah, he does send me flowers. He's nice, he's great about that.
So a lot of people just found it kind of weird and gross that she was using this time to promote a film about really serious themes, to promote things like her alcohol brand alongside with the floral theme of the movie. And this left a bad taste in people's mouths. And people on Reddit also talked about how it's ridiculous that they had PR promote alcohol with drinks named after the characters in the movie when it's about such serious themes. However, in her defense, light defense, later on, people stated that floral imagery that was getting her such harsh judgment was within her strict contract from Sony. So her focusing on the outfits being floral and telling people to show up to the movie in floral themes, etc., was because it was in her contract. So it wasn't fair to point fingers at her for this specific argument. Not talking about the rest, okay? Which one person on YouTube came to her defense about.
Blake said, wear your florals, but that's still feeding into the smear campaign, and I can bring the receipts to prove it. The outrage is over this video, which was posted to the official movie social media, where Blake says, grab your friends, wear your florals to go see a domestic violence movie.
Hello, Blake Lively here.
Colleen Hoover.
And It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
How could Blake say such a thing? Well, as the complaint reveals, Sony had a strict marketing plan, which involved heavily leaning on the floral theme, including a number of floral pop-ups. But the very same day that that video was posted, August the 6th, a number of movie theater accounts, Event, Breeze, Marquee, all posted a promotion for the movie using the tagline, grab your girls, wear your florals. 2 days before that, July 30th, the official It Ends With Us account posted this promotional video. How to plan the perfect girls' night out to go see a domestic violence movie, and their advice, grab your besties, grab your tickets, wear your florals. 2 days before that, July 28th, the official account had again posted soundbites from that early screening.
Grab your girls, wear your florals, and go see it.
That was definitely not Blake Lively. The quote comes from a micro-influencer who saw a screening of the movie on July 19th. Marketing clearly loved the quote, though given half of the women in those clips were wearing florals, I suspect it was planned, and then used it heavily in promoting the movie.
However, again, something much worse would pop up instead during all of this, and it would be a lawsuit from Blake Lively against the director, Justin Baldoni. So Blake Lively had filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department stating that she was allegedly sexually harassed and a hostile work environment was created on set during filming. All of this was directed towards Justin Baldoni and the producer, Jamie Heath. From going off script to creepy kissing scenes that went further than agreed on, or without consent to inappropriate comments that made her feel uncomfortable. And according to Lively, there was an unwanted kiss scene that was improvised, and Justin tried to add graphic sexual scenes to the script and an on-screen orgasm, and on her burst scene stated that she should be nude for it, despite that never being in the script in the first place. So this toxic environment made her uncomfortable, and it was invasive. And it gets worse, as she states that she recalls a moment when she was in her trailer getting her makeup removed topless. Justin would enter the trailer, to which she told him to turn his back. But she said she could see him making unconsented glances despite her wishes, and she called him out. And she states that he just brushed her off. And another story mentioned him entering her trailer when she was breastfeeding, which was a complete break from her privacy. The lawsuit then directs steps that must be taken in order to stop her from being uncomfortable. And the list is quite long, from mentions of not showing nude videos or images of women to others, not describing his own genitalia, no physical touching or sexual comments, improvised kissing, and an off-script comment where Justin asks Blake Lively about her weight. And the list is very, very long and detailed, pointing out that they hold value and seriousness to them happening on set, as she alleged. But according to Baldoni's lawyers, they stated that she was spreading misinformation to damage Baldoni's career and working directly with New York Times publicists to spread this false narrative, even going so far as to give illegally obtained text messages to spread her narrative further.
What they did was they worked with the New York Times, or publicists worked directly with the New York Times. They shared illegally obtained text messages. They shared those together. They concocted a complaint that they filed with the Civil Rights Division. The PR crisis agent was brought in because actually Blake Lively's publicist, Leslie Sloan, was planting stories negative to Justin.
They also claim that she frequently wanted script changes, including a rooftop scene, and these frequent changes show certain scenes she approved, which she mentioned made her uncomfortable in the lawsuit. And we also know that this scene specifically was written by her own husband, Ryan Reynolds.
So the iconic rooftop scene in this movie, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that, but you know.
And in the lawsuit as well, it shows damning text made by editors and publicists and Justin Baldoni, talking about burying her. And these were illegally obtained messages that were alleged. Again, alleged, where they talked about how they were trying to smear Blake Lively's name, and evidence of the messages from Baldoni to others talking about finding a way to drag her name through the mud further. And this in turn had her claim emotional distress, knowing the toxic production that was going on behind the scenes that is now in the public eye. However, is that like the fourth however? I don't know. With all this taking place, Justin Baldoni, believing the New York Times had smeared his name with false narrative, sued them for $250 million. That's a lot of money. And more stories involving him walking in unannounced when she was breastfeeding had a different story as well. The actual context of the story was that he was directly invited to her trailer by her, even announcing in the text that she was pumping. And this context was just completely left out, with text linked in Blake Lively's lawsuit, leaving out vital clues that would show they were no more than just banter and jokes.
They omitted texts that would have provided context, texts that were in the exact same string that would have provided context of what was really going on.
So these new texts show the mix-ups and things that were left out purposefully for the lawsuit, which is like just so dumb. Like as if he doesn't have the text messages too. Like I don't know what kind of ground these lawyers stand on, but it ain't stable. But a lot was left out, leaving the public that were viewing Blake Lively's text that she had let out to believe that Baldoni and Baldoni's people were just dragging her name when that was not the case. So with the context clues, it does not look as bad at all. In fact, it looks like flirty, which is what a lot of people are saying. One of the real texts saying, "I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work out our lines." Copy, "Eating with crew and we'll head that way. Take your time. I'm here. I'll meet with you. HMU, hit me up. Sorry, I'm just seeing this." And then they just go on to talk about the lines that they're doing. And in the lawsuit as well, it explains that all of this bad press is from her own self. They didn't orchestrate a hate mob to fill her comments and drag her name through the mud. It was her own doing. And even the Times had pointed out, hypocritically, that Blake's promotion of the movie was her pushing her makeup line, her clothes, and more, stating her promotion was tone deaf. So they just went right back on her after they like promoted that Baldoni was smearing her name. They're like, never mind, we hate you. And the lawsuit goes on and on with about 87 pages of information to comb through. There is just so much going on. And to point out just a few, there was a point where Justin had a lot of supporters on Instagram accounts who were going through different posts defending him. So he asked his team if anyone had created bots doing this, and they had denied it completely. However, in Lively's lawsuit, they deliberately claim that they created these bots to spread a message. And this is shown in Justin's lawsuit, which shows that Lively's team did, in fact, do this. So it wasn't Justin Baldoni's team that was doing that, but Blake Lively's team was making bots to make her look better. Who are these lawyers? And to make matters worse, more and more things have been coming out. Recently, Justin Baldoni's team released a video to really show what was happening behind the scenes. And both actors talked about their respective view of the behind the scenes footage in their lawsuits, and it going down in very different ways. Lively claimed that she was uncomfortable moving away from him and trying to change the scene. And Baldoni claimed in his story that at points Blake Lively would refuse to meet up with the intimacy coordinator, which she also claimed that there was no intimacy coordinator. So that's Strange. But in the footage released, it shows him talking about how she smells good, and he was out of character, because basically this was just a scene that was filmed for the montage, so they didn't actually need the sound from the scene. But in order to do the scene, they needed to like talk and do stuff that made it look like they're in love. They didn't really talk about what was to be said in the scene, and who knows what the direction was. Only Baldoni knows that because he is the director. So it's kind of up in the air and up for interpretation. I highly recommend you watch the whole video. However, in this scene, they had rehearsed multiple times and had been talking out of character. However, Lively's team still claims that this actually proves her story more than what Baldoni's team was trying to prove. And news articles began to watch it for themselves, taking both sides and understanding each perspective. And as someone looking into it myself, I can honestly see both perspectives. It does seem uncomfortable to watch. Like, being out of character and complimenting someone in an intimate scene does seem creepy, and as a woman, I've been in that place quite a few times. Not that people are complimenting me constantly, but just, you know, just walking on a street as any woman, like, you feel that weirdness, and then to just be with somebody that you have to be that close to and that you don't have a script with, and that's just like going over and above, maybe it's just for the acting, to compliment you and do that kind of stuff is just like, it's not necessarily, you know? So it feels weird. But again, maybe he's just in character. I don't know. But then on the other side of the coin, Justin's just going through the motions. And then there's even a point where, you know, he tells her that she smells good, but that's only because she talked about her spray tan, and he was just reassuring her that it was fine. And then she actually brings up like kind of more flirtatious stuff, and then he brings up his wife and her husband, kind of seeming like he's like trying to build up a wall there. So there's weird back and forth. I do recommend you watch it. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But yeah, since they're acting, Justin may have not been able to tell that she was uncomfortable, or he was just like tone deaf and didn't even realize, or he was just acting. You know, there's a lot. I don't know. And according to Baldoni's team, the new movie Deadpool and Wolverine included a character named Nice Pool, one of which had some jokes that seemed to poke fun at Justin Baldoni directly. And to explain a bit further, Nice Pool is a Deadpool variant with a man bun, basically, seemingly another dig at Baldoni because he tends to wear man buns, which is cool. And he makes a comment saying, "You can't even tell she had a baby," which is about Lady Pool, who's played by Blake Lively. And Deadpool responds by saying, "You're not supposed to say that." To which he responds, "It's okay, I identify as a feminist."
Here I am doing my part, trying to be a feminist.
And this again is possibly another dig at Baldoni. And in another scene not long after is a scene where Deadpool has the villain Cassandra Nova put her hand inside his head. And he later asks, "Where's the intimacy coordinator?"
And where in God's name is the intimacy coordinator?
But another possible dig at Baldoni again. But once again, the last of them, from my knowledge, lies in the credits. According to Deadpool and Wolverine, Nice Pool, who is obviously played by Ryan Reynolds, is listed as being by Gordon Reynolds, who Justin Baldoni also included in the movie It Ends With Us, in the credits. And this section was a special shout out, meaning Justin Baldoni put them there himself to be credited. So the digs were at Justin Baldoni. And after all this, on January 16th, 2025, a lawsuit was filed. And this 179-page lawsuit goes for Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and more. And the lawsuit states that it left them no choice, bringing Baldoni into the spotlight for no reason other than to drag and ruin his reputation. It also states that if she were to just sit out the bad PR she did for the movie, then no one in the public eye would be bringing up her past and know that she deliberately changed the script more and more to control the movie, effectively pushing Justin Baldoni out of his own job as director. And mentioned in it is the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine included narratives to further spread harm to Justin Baldoni's name.
You know, what Ryan Reynolds, you know, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie, but, you know, he's used it, you know, on Deadpool, and to make fun of Justin Baldoni.
Therefore, ruin his reputation even more than Lively had already done. And since Ryan Reynolds is such a powerful figure in Hollywood, he had no doubt in his mind that it was all on purpose to defend his wife. Which, by the way, was the entire scene in Deadpool where Nice Pool is shot to death by Lady Pool. And maybe, I'm just overlooking it. But it makes it look like a character to which they are using to make fun of Justin Baldoni is shot to death by Blake Lively, who plays Lady Poole. Again, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but I'm not the only one who did. The other person that did was the one that was getting made fun of, which was Justin Baldoni, where he says he has no doubt in his mind that they were making fun of him. Therefore, the reason for the lawsuit.
Uzi time, baby.
Look alive!
And this has now just caused an uproar of fans who liked Ryan Reynolds, a bunch of them turning their back on him completely. And with the footage released mentioned before of the It Ends With Us behind the scenes video, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds filed a gag order on Baldoni's lawyer, stating that the lawsuit would taint the jury pool to see Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds in a rougher light. And the anger comes from not saving it for court and instead sending it to the media to manipulate the public. And this is because of its release, Lively has just received more and more hate. Which, I mean, it's really hard. Like, I mean, we're getting all of this information one by one, and he said, she said, point for point stuff, and all we can do is kind of look and be like, what the fuck? It's just not good. And I don't ever agree to spreading hate, no matter what you think, because I think on the internet, we just kind of surface level see something from the outside, and we don't really know what's going on totally beyond that. But all I can do is give you information, and that's what I'm doing. But anyway, because of this drama, it has actually affected Blake Lively in a very negative way, and also Justin Baldoni in a very negative way, and his legacy as a feminist. And apparently, with the lawsuit that Blake Lively first filed, his award for women's solidarity has been rescinded. And the allegations against him completely go against everything that they stand for. Therefore, the award shouldn't be given out to him. However, if all is untrue and Baldoni does come out on top, it's tragic that something he was very passionate about creating was destroyed due to stupidity, basically. But again, I'm not taking sides because I don't know the full story, you don't know the full story, and it's just really confusing. But there's one more thing that came out that I think is slightly interesting, and I feel like I should tell you. A couple days ago, from when I'm recording this at least, Candace Owens unleashed a 20+ slide Instagram story claiming Ryan Reynolds was the true villain in this scandal. Didn't see that coming. Or maybe we did. I don't know. Owens revealed that she had received an alleged tip from someone who had worked on the set of It Ends With Us. And it begins with Reynolds showing up unannounced to the set, demanding to review the dailies. And the dailies are basically, it's basically just a term for raw footage. So he wanted to see what was going on and what didn't make the cut because he was sussed out. He was sussed out. And the source alleged that Reynolds became jealous of Baldoni's on-screen chemistry with Lively, projecting his own history of falling for co-stars, particularly with his ex, Scarlett Johansson, and current wife, Blake Lively, and was determined to humiliate Baldoni. Not good. Not good for our Canadian so-called hero. This is bad. This is not ideal. And other accusations allege that Reynolds used his A-list influence to pressure their shared talent agency, WME, into choosing sides. And reportedly, he delivered an ultimatum, which resulted in Baldoni's agent swiftly dropping him from their roster without conducting any investigation into Lively's claim. And a source close to Baldoni's team hinted that the allegations against Reynolds are just the tip of the iceberg, suggesting there's much, much more to the story yet to unfold. So that is a very interesting update. This may, which kind of makes sense, revolve around just a jealous Ryan Reynolds. Maybe it's Blake falling in love with Justin Baldoni, and then she's having to kind of play like, oh no, that wasn't happening. He was actually doing this, but it could not be. I don't know. I have no idea. This is all alleged. Update. Okay, everybody calm down. We have a voice message, okay? We got a voice message. This video is gonna go up very soon, but I needed to get this in, okay? Because this voice message is juicy if it's real. But anyway, a lengthy voice message from Justin Baldoni to Blake Lively, reportedly recorded at 2 a.m. Spicy. Just kidding. While their film It Ends With Us was still in pre-production, has surfaced in the media as the latest development in their ongoing legal dispute. And the recording is spanning over 6 minutes long. I had to listen to it on 2x speed because It started to sound like immediately at the very beginning, I thought I was listening to a smutty romance novel. But anyway, here's a little clip.
Reading the second part of your message, my heart sank. And I'm really sorry. I for sure fell short.
It's a little weird. Anyway, I listened to the whole thing, and interesting to say the least. And the audio, in my opinion, and to many others, reveals a sympathetic Justin Baldoni endeavoring to mend any negative feelings Blake Lively may have had in response to his reaction to her proposed rewrites of a pivotal opening scene, the rooftop scene in which Ryan Reynolds rewrote. But Baldoni repeatedly apologizes in the recording. However, according to Baldoni's own lawsuit, he may have not been quite as remorseful at the time the voicemail was sent. So whether it was just to like save face and like keep things going and keep things positive, we won't know, but he sounds pretty, you know, like authentic in his apologies. But anyway, the Daily Mail was the first to acquire the voice note, which is a little sketchy. It's the Daily Mail, you know, linking it to arguments over script revisions specifically. And while that appears to be the case, the Hollywood Reporter could not verify precisely when Baldoni sent Lively these exact messages. But it's interesting to say the least, especially in his response. It's supposedly in response to Lively saying that she has, you know, dragons on her back, referring to herself as Khaleesi, which is kind of cringe, if you ask me. Don't look at that. Don't look at this. But I wouldn't really ever in an argument say like, I have Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds at my back. They're like my dragons. It's just little cringe, if you ask me. And he alleges that he felt pressured into accepting her changes once Lively mentioned the support of both Reynolds and her close friend Taylor Swift, who reportedly approved of her edits. Who the fuck cares if Taylor Swift approved of her edits? She's not in the movie. What does that have to do with anything? And Baldoni had misgivings about many of the edits, but he thanked Lively for her enthusiasm, diplomatically noting the final result would likely be somewhere between the original draft and Lively's version. And according to the suit, Lively, feeling stung by that remark, stopped communicating for several days. She then would email Baldoni saying that his comment about meeting in the middle didn't feel so great for me. And in her note, she also described previous experiences where her creative input had been disregarded. And this is kind of what the whole voice memo is about, is just like, I'm so sorry for the other experiences that you've had. And he's saying like, I don't want you to experience that. I just want to like work with you. And I think working with you has been so great. I'm so honored to have you as part of my production and everything. He's just like, just feeding her the dragon that the ego dragon, you know? But anyway, that's the update. Interesting stuff. Anyway, all in all though, everyone's name has been dragged through the mud. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are now being canceled, and it has been revealed to the world that they are kind of petty, I guess, and that Blake Lively is known as a mean girl, if you will. Again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so it's kind of hard to judge, but you know, I get that people are gonna have their opinions. However, it is a shame that the movie has effectively become kind of a joke instead of a serious story and narrative meant to raise awareness about abuse. At the very least, what will come of it is a new standard for creating movies, so stuff like this can't be alleged or, if found true, ever happen again. The last thing we need is behind the scenes drama ruining these types of movies. But anyway, that's all I have for today's video. If you enjoyed it, like it or subscribe or whatever. I know I don't usually do like drama commentating types of videos, but let me know if you like it at all. I only really like commentating on stuff that I can kind of relate to in some way or another, and with the subject matter, you know, that's kind of where I can relate to, and I can understand where people are coming from, I guess. And also I can understand I'm not a celebrity in any way, shape, or form, but you know, a narrative coming out about a public figure and it just being like turned a completely different way. Been there, you know, so it's just very interesting. Let's see how it goes. Let me know if you want an update. I know there will be updates, or it might be a trial, like a whole Johnny Depp Amber Rose situation. We'll see. But yeah, anyway, just want you to know I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so happy you're here, and I will see your beautiful face in the next video. Okay, bye. Also, don't forget to download Dragon City today by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code. And when you do, you can get a Call Me Chris pin food, gold, and the Neo Izumi dragon instantly. So don't waste this opportunity to play with my custom dragons. This is for a limited time, so download it while you can. Thank you again to Dragon City for sponsoring this video.